Hi everyone, you're with Gary from the Rethink team and I'm really glad to have you here. If you are here, you're probably a practitioner who usually does their work with families on a face-to-face basis and are looking to keep your practice as productive and as restorative as it's always been. Everyone in early help is striving to maintain their offer to families the best they can during the coronavirus pandemic. So, some key concerns you may have at the moment are: who do I really need to visit? And how best can I support the families I'm working with during the current circumstances? All of us will have some struggles adapting to the current government directives, and we can anticipate that the families we work with will have similar, if not bigger, struggles. Responding to these difficulties as restoratively as possible will help prevent escalation and deterioration within their homes that increases the risk to them and possible further interventions. We can continue to use the least practice model to enable us to do this effectively, maintain multi-agency connections, user with approach and focus on outcomes. So if we can continue to have simple restorative conversations with our families and young people, we can more easily identify what their immediate need and concern is right now, the resources that are needed to address the issue, and what response from us is required to support the family most effectively. When we're contacted by a family, or when we're contacting a family, we can still look to identify who is part of their network, professionally, family and friends, and consider how best to utilise this. We want to avoid duplication and work creatively alongside other services to ensure we have one family, one lead worker and one plan. And more than ever, we want to reduce the risk posed to families and us through non-essential visits from services, which could increase the chances of us spreading or contracting COVID-19. The Rethink formulation model, or 6Ps, continues to be a useful tool when we're thinking about how to analyse information, develop our understanding and implement plans with families. However, there may be times, like now, when we need to focus quickly on an immediate top concern. The top concern approach, which we'll go through in detail with an example in a moment, is an effective way of identifying immediate concerns and risks and maintaining a formulation-driven approach in our support planning. The top concern approach is based around a conversation with a family, a parent or young person in which you would look to identify their struggles with staying home, staying safe or staying well. It's highly likely that their current presenting issue will relate to one of these three categories. Using the top concern approach from our homes or bases will enable us to limit our contact to an absolute minimum and ensure that we too stay home, stay well and stay safe. Right, let's have a look at the top concern approach in more detail using a case example. So, this example is taken from a conversation that I had with a mum where we looked at her barriers to staying safe at home, and we ended up with a plan, an action plan of 4 little steps she was going to take to reduce the barriers to staying safe at home. But how did we get there? Let's have a look through that in some detail. So I started off by asking Mum the top concern question. Which of the 3 areas was she most concerned about? Was it something to do with staying home, something to do with staying well, or was she struggling to stay safe at the moment? And that's where she landed. I'm struggling to stay safe at the moment. So that's where we started with. So we looked, that was our top concern. So we put that in the middle. So we've put that in the middle of our top concern formulation. As the conversation continues, we're looking to build up our understanding of what the family are struggling with to stay safe. So we'll ask lots of questions that are really looking for the precipitating factors or the triggers to what the struggle to stay safe is, and the perpetuating factors, what's maintaining the struggle to stay safe. So we're going to ask those kind of questions and we're going to build it up sort of like this. Okay, so throughout that conversation, I stayed curious with Mum, asked her lots of different questions about what could be contributing to her struggles to stay safe. Now, so that's step 1 completed. We've got our basic understanding of what she's struggling with in terms of safety at home. So we now want to move on to step 2. So which of those things is causing her most concern? Which is the most powerful factor at the moment a struggle to safety. So what mum identified when we asked these questions is that her child being aggressive to her was her biggest concern at the moment. She doesn't know what to do about that. She's run out of ideas. So that becomes our priority concern. So that's the thing that we're going to base our plan on. We're going to look at that in more detail in the next step. Right, so what I've done now is started a new formulation with the new top concern of that mum's children are being aggressive towards her, and we want to look at that in more detail by asking questions about that. So again, we'll stay curious, we're looking for triggers to them being aggressive and what's maintaining them being aggressive. So that conversation built the formulation up as such. Okay, so the result of our conversation with mum so far has given us the formulation that we see in front of us now. So she's struggling to stay safe, and the main reason for that is that her children are being aggressive towards her. The factors that are contributing to the children being aggressive are here in front of us. So the children being bored and nothing to do, they're all in the house together with no personal space, we're not getting a break from each other when she enforces the rules about staying in, and that she's got no one to share these struggles with. So we've got our hypothesis there. So with this second layer of understanding, we're now in a position to verbalise our hypothesis. So we could say that incidents of aggression at home are increasing due to there being no routine in place that effectively manages people's time, space and activities effectively. So we want to develop a goal and an action plan to address that theory. After talking to mum about what felt doable, we came up with an action plan, which was to create a list of activities for the children to do at home, both individual and together, identify what materials they need for those activities, consider where and when in the home these activities can take place, and consider areas of the home which could be used as a quiet, safe place for young people to go to when needed, if they were losing their temper, and mum could use that same space too. And then we've also added right at the end to give her sister a call every night to talk about how things are going. And mum agreed at the end of that plan that that felt an effective way. There were some effective steps there that would help her manage the aggression from the children and help her feel safer at home. It may be the case that a parent throws some barriers in place at this stage of the formulation. They might lack a bit of confidence and say to you, can't you just come out and do that for me? Or I wish you could come out and help me sort the kids out. If they do say that, you can add that to your understanding. You can add that as a barrier in your formulation. So a parent not feeling confident to do it by themselves. So you may add an extra step then on speaking to you over the phone regularly, or speaking to someone else over the phone regularly, just to ground them and build up their confidence in dealing with it without you going out. Who else could they have that conversation with? So I've added mum's identified barrier to our formulation there, and she's going to use the conversation with her sister every day to talk that through. The next time we phone mum, whether she phones in or we call her, we can review what we've done. So we can ask if this is still mum's top concern, and are the action steps that we planned having an impact on that. If they are, great. We can then look at another factor and build a plan for that in the same way as we did with the first one. If this still is mum's top concern and she's struggling with the plan, let's have that in the centre. Mum's struggle with the plan can be our top concern, and we can take it from there. So there you have a case example of how you might use the top concern formulation tool in a conversation with a parent to build up an understanding for both you and them into what was leading to them struggling to stay safe, and come up with a little bit of a plan and work through it with them in a way that meant you didn't have to go out and visit them. You could do that from the safety of your own home, and they can stay safely in their home. So that's the end of our video guide in how to use the top concern formulation. We hope you found the video useful, and we really hope that you'll find the tool useful in your continued conversations and your work with the families that you work with. Thanks for watching.